Welcome back to Sports Corner. I'm Lindsay Petruni with this week's edition of Excuse You. Kent State is graduating this year's second leading scorer and Conference Defensive Player of the Year. So guys, will the Flashes be able to repeat as conference champions without Scott and Q?
First off, Lindsay, I don't think they could. I don't know. Q and Mike Scott, they're fast-running players, mesh with the team very well. But when you leave those two guys, yeah, you still have Al Fisher. But I just don't think they have that leadership right there that's going to really help them guide them along the way. Look at their starting lineup projected real quick here. Fisher, Singletary, Woods, DeMaria possibly, and Parks. Parks never played. You know, you need a big guy in there. Parks is the biggest one there besides Garcia, but Garcia is no one.
That's the thing that hurts. You know, we have defense with Jordan Mincy. He's, nobody really talks about him. He does a great job playing defense other than Q. But you got to look around the league. Miami, Ohio might be the one. But you look at Akron, they lose Woods, they're losing Dials. I really think as long as they can hold off Miami with Tyler Dirkers,
our favorite guy, and Bramos. Bramos is the other guy.
I think Kent State has a legitimate shot of winning the MAC again. What about you, Doug?
You need someone on the inside to be able to do that, and you need to get someone coming out of JUCO to do that, because next year, you look at the team next year. I mean, you've got a lot of good guards returning. You've got Singletary, you've got Sherman, you've got Fisher, Mincy, McKee somewhat. I mean, gives you a three-point threat, but they have no one.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, look, I'm agreeing with the expert here, James.
Well, okay, well, you know, he could be the expert, but I'm telling you, Miami's losing they still have 3 of the 4 leading scorers. It's not about just Kent. It's about what's going on in the MAC, and I think they can still do it. They just got to get that big man. I know it's a lot.
Dirkers and Bramos are going to help Miami.
Right, we'll see.
Davidson, Western Kentucky, and Villanova, all high-seeded teams breaking your brackets as they prepare for the Sweet 16. So guys, who has been your biggest upset of the tournament so far?
Can I just say every team I picked to win pretty much lost, so anything is an upset
we will see that later on.
I want to say that Davidson, obviously with Georgetown, but I have to go with Western Kentucky over Drake. The ending of that game was probably one of the greatest upsets so far to watch on TV. When you watched Ty Rogers with that three men in his face, are you kidding me? I think that was a great upset.
I got to go with Davidson and Georgetown because everyone picked Georgetown. I picked Georgetown even though I think Georgetown was overrated, and they had Roy Hibbert is one of the most overrated players.
Here's the shot. One of the greatest shots in the whole tournament so far. There's 3 guys in his face, and he makes that shot.
Well, Davidson almost beat UNC, earlier in the year, but they did beat Gonzaga, which I picked.
Doug, is your
Douglas,
bracket
what about you?
It's so right now. We'll go with that.
Okay.
What's the upset?
I mean, I've got to pick Western Kentucky as well because I have Drake.
I picked that.
Of course, I have Drake going to the Sweet 16. I have Drake going to the Sweet 16, so that's got some X's there.
Experts know what we're talking about.
But the way that game went down, Western Kentucky up big there in the second half. They blow a 16-point lead. Drake comes back on them. Then they hang on for the win there in overtime.
There still could be more upsets to come.
Hopefully they are.
Absolutely.
After an impressive spring training, Cliff Lee was named the Indians' 5th and final starter in the Indians' rotation. Lee won 18 games in 2005, but is he the best pick for the rotation's final spot, guys?
Mr. Indian over here.
All right, I'm going to say, you're going to have to go with Cliff Lee. If he's showing his stuff right now in spring training, you got to go with him. There's always a good backup plan. Aaron Laffey, Jeremy Sowers, and you also have Adam Miller, who's been down in the minors for a couple years, who is going to have to come up. My prediction is Cliff Lee may have a so-so year. By the All-Star break, if the Indians are out of the hunt, or maybe even if they are still in the hunt, they could trade him, and because they still have those 2 other pitchers in there.
That's the thing. I mean, I'm from the Pirates, where you have about 12 different starters by then. Me and Doug are both from Pittsburgh. We see 12 different starters in the rotation.
Absolutely.
So you think you have 4 good starters, and you have the 5th. You're really worried about Cliff Lee. I think it's not that big of a deal. If he ends up not being well, you can pull some up from the minors. I mean, it's not a big deal. Like I said, I see 12 different starters.
Yeah, you're used to it.
The most you're hoping for out of a 5th starter is, get 10 to 15 wins out of that out of 30. I mean, being from Pittsburgh, you get the Pirates. They've got more holes than Swiss cheese. And if really the biggest thing you're worried about is a 5th starter, then I mean, you don't have much to worry about this season.
Wish I was a Cleveland Indian fan.
The Dallas Mavericks will be without Dirk Nowitzki after suffering knee and ankle injuries in Sunday's game against the Spurs. The team says he will be out indefinitely. So, guys, can the team still make the playoffs without him?
I've been waiting for this argument since we talked about last night. I am going to go out on a limb and say, yes, the Mavericks will still make the playoffs. Now, listen, Do not shake your head. You'll get
I'm
your
shaking
chance,
it.
okay?
Come on.
Yao Ming went out, and the Rockets still kept that winning streak
That was a
alive.
fluke. They're going to get bounced in the first round.
Okay, the Rockets are still going to make the playoffs. That's all we're not talking about are they going to win a playoff series. We're talking about they're going to make it. Now, they are 2-0 against the Warriors this year. They have them twice. They got the Clippers twice. They got the Sonics twice.
All right,
There's 12 games left.
Let me cut you off here. Okay. Out of those 12 games they have left, 4 of those games, for those teams that you just said that there are all below 500. They play Denver, Golden State, Lakers, Suns, Jazz, and Hornets. All combined over the year, they're 7-9 against them. That's with Nowitzki. Now, I'm a huge Mavericks fan. I love Dirk, but if you're going 7-9 against those teams, you're not going to do anything without Nowitzki. And plus, Jason Kidd hasn't meshed with that team. There's absolutely no way they're going to do it.
I have a feeling Doug's going to be on your side.
Absolutely. Currently, the Mavs are in 7th place in the conference.
Yeah.
They're 1.5 games out of being out of the playoffs. You've got the Nuggets coming on strong, and I mean they weren't playing well before.
James, you lose your leading scorer. He's the leading scorer to 42 out of the 70 games this year.
No one thought the
way.
Rockets would do anything when Yao went out, and they kept that winning streak alive. I'm just telling you, there's 12 games left. I told you the games that they were going to win there. They have 7. If they win 7 games of the last 12, they're in the playoffs.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Lindsay, what would you want to talk about earlier? I'm so.
I want to go back to the upsets because I have so much love for little Stephon Curry, and he looks like he's 12.
You would like Stephon Curry.
70 points in 2 games. That's mad.
He's just so adorable. I'm so excited for Davidson. I'm really happy.
You know,
for
I
him.
really am rooting for him now on. So.
Well, still to come on Sports Corner, our Pick'em panel will preview this week's Sweet 16 matchups, and we'll take a look at the Sports Corner college basketball brackets. Stay tuned.